Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aphrodite, aka Madam Suave. If you are new here, I would like to welcome you to the community. Be sure to check the description box below and like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. Remember that energy is timeless and fluid. This could be past, present, or future energy. Flip roles if they need to be reversed, and only take what resonates, leaving the rest for what it's meant for. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this energy that we kind of tapped into today was very exhausting when I was tapping into it, okay? And it's also very messy. So I don't know, you could be involved in some sort of drama. However, it's so messy and there's so much mess all over the place that I'm not going to try to figure out your mess. You should kind of know what your mess is and what it is about without me having to kind of pick it apart and tell you, okay? However, I will try my best to get it as clear as possible for you guys, okay? But you may have recently learned the true intentions of someone that you have known a very long time. I was getting that this could be a childhood friend, so some sort of betrayal, or they are feeling betrayed. So this could either be you or them are feeling betrayed, okay? I don't know if there is like some mutual drama going on between you two or like whatever, but you may have shared some sensitive information, or maybe they think that you shared some sensitive information, or they feel or found out that you were talking poorly about them, or like I said, this could be vice versa. I really do not know, okay? But these are things that, if this was you who was talking about them, these are things that you have said to them and voiced to them, but it went unheard, and so you kind of turned to other people. So I don't know, like I said, this could be a mutual feud, or I'm getting that maybe it's not even a feud. Maybe you were kind of just were seeking an outlet in someone, okay? But there is some other like messier energy, so it could be. But anyways, you found out about something that they did to you or had been doing, so you basically retaliated. Or someone could also be saying that they retaliated against you for something that they are kind of like unsure of, okay? Now, what I am getting though is that this person is trapped within their own spells, including an illusion spell that was attempted to hide what they had done. Now, so like I'm saying, because if this is, a friend, this could be something that they have been doing for a long time, okay? So trapped within their own spells, including an illusion spell that was attempted to hide what they had done. And they wanted you to be isolated so that you would be an easier target. But you thrive in isolation while they cannot stand being with themselves because there are too many voices in their head. So whatever this info was, or however you found out about this betrayal, you could have been like waiting around because you heard this info maybe from someone else. And then you told some pretty personal information and you took it as an opportunity to get your lick back. Now, this could also be something that they just think, okay? Something that didn't happen, but they are just thinking it, okay? But you are someone who you stand out. You are very unique. You don't need an army. Your presence stands strong on its own, and they became obsessed because they couldn't attain it. So this threatened their sense of security, okay? This is also someone who feels like people are always out to get them because they need to deflect from their own issues, and everywhere they look, they can see nothing but their own flaws. And so they create problems with other people, but are really lashing out at themselves. So they are going through a very intense ego death at this time, okay? Having a really tough time because they are ignoring the self and blaming everyone else for things that didn't occur. And as I said, this energy was very exhausting. So maybe this is something that you have dealt with for a long time, okay? And it just became so exhausting that you pretty much cut things off. But you were very loving and understanding throughout your relationship with them. But for your sanity, you chose to walk away, okay? And like I said, because this was like, I was like, for my sanity, I'm not going to try to figure out what this mess is. You guys should kind of like know what your own mess is, what your own drama and things that you're dealing with. I don't really care to know, okay? But I was also getting that this could be a cross watcher and a karmic who is mentally unstable and does not know how to interpret the information that they are taking in or understand what they are hearing and listening to. So it's like this is someone who wants to be good or receiving positive information, so anything negative they try to place on someone else, okay? So this is someone who knows what's right, okay? They are very aware of what is right, but they are not that person. Because yesterday we spoke about poser energy, and kind of what I was thinking of a poster. So imagine, someone posing on a poster and they are trapped in that poster. Like, it's just their reality is just simply that poster and nothing else outside of that poster exists. It's like this episode where I watched where, the lady, she is put into kind of like a simulation in a way. They're trying to recreate this very old-fashioned movie. And so everyone inside the movie that are actors with her do not understand that they are actors, okay? They believe that all of that is a part of their reality. So it's like everyone on the outside knows that they are actors, but they do not actually know who they truly are. And that's kind of what I'm getting, okay? They are like kind of like trapped in that reality, or like I said, illusion, okay? The best way that I can put it is that their imagination is working against them, okay? Their imagination information is working against them and kind of creating insanity. But like I said, it's a very painful ego death, which is driving them. Oh yeah, it's a very painful ego death, which is driving them to insanity and causing them to create chaos with everyone around them and in their life because they are avoiding. So this is what I would consider a blackout state. Okay, this is a goner because they are so far removed from reality that there is no getting back to this world. So, and it's like, this is something that like I really, kind of like hate to say or hate to break it to you, but they are not going to wake up until they die because they will have nothing but them. Okay, if you understand what I'm saying, it's like they will be stripped down to nothing but them. They will not be able to run from themselves because that is all that they will have is themselves and not their fleshly outside being, none of that. They're just going to be them. Okay, like in its purest essence, just them. This insanity that we are talking about, this insanity, the delirium, this is a sign of them getting closer to death the further away from reality that they become, because their soul is gone, the mind is fleeting, and their spirit is drifting. So this leaves their body open and vulnerable to other spirits, very much like vultures eating a carcass. And this is why they seem so erratic or speak with invective, okay? So you may be trying to understand them, or you want to know what they are thinking, but feel like their mind is gone. And so they are already in the in-between state. So little by little, they are being guided away. So they may be feeling, sad, scared, or also feeling alone. And I was picking up on fairy energy. Now, one thing about fairies, one thing about fairies is that all fairies are not good. Some fairies are trickster energies. And this is very much like a lot of mystical magical creatures. A lot of them, are not always good. A lot of them can be trickster energies, but it may be made unaware. So they are being led to a reality that they desire. So kind of this was reminding me of the door that we spoke of, a door with the lights, but on the other side of that door, it isn't pretty. And this is kind of giving me like being trapped in a jar, okay? And oftentimes, we equate desire with beauty and appeal. So this is how, their desires appear to them, or, maybe how their imagination is looking, is that, it looks, kind of beautiful on the outside, but it's not actually beautiful. Like once they actually kind of like go through that door or cross that threshold, okay? And this is because their desires are rooted in darkness and reflect that. However, this is something that they do not see because they don't see themselves. They don't know what's waiting for them and are going to be shocked. So it's going to feel like having a really good dream and not wanting to wake up. And this is what's going to happen. They are going to go to sleep and never wake up again. And we spoke about this before. So at first they were avoiding it. So now it is being made to where they cannot resist it. And this is going to lead, like I said, I think I already mentioned it, but like I said, this is going to be a permanent blackout, okay? They are going to be trapped in their darkest desires and temptations and be forced to live through everything that they were wishing and speaking against others for eternity. So that buzzing or whirring noise that we were kind of like talking about yesterday, that kind of like exists in their head, will never go away. The sounds of their own screams will be haunting them, all right? And this may be something that is already taking place also, okay? To end it off, I was picking up on more love energy. However, it didn't seem, much different than anything that we have already been talking about. And you guys know me, I am not one to sit here and keep repeating myself and harping on the same things. But I will go ahead and, give you a little glimpse and taste of what I do want to say, and then we're kind of just going to go ahead and end it, okay? The most that you need to know right now about this love energy is that what has gone unspoken and existed in the spirit is now materializing in the flesh as they decide for themselves that living in the mind isn't enough. So they are stepping out of their own way. During this time, your bond has grown stronger and your love and strength tested, but in their absence, they don't want that fondness to turn into resentment the same way that it did for a karmic or frost twin. So this karmic or frost twin, especially, this may be one of the energies that we were picking up on yesterday, okay? They were a shapeshifter or a warlock who attempted to put you under a love spell, and it backfired on them. So they entrapped themselves in their own obsession. So if you are feeling resentment or disgust, that is not your person, and these love messages are not about you and that person, okay? They're not about you and that person, and they are not for you and that person. Because if love is true, it does not require a spell or manipulation, and it doesn't wear off the same way that spells do. So frustration is normal, but like I said, know when to free yourself, okay? Know when to free yourself. If you've been waiting 10 years, and yes, I'm using this as an example because yes, I have literally seen this in comments of other videos, okay? So if you have been waiting around for 10 years, that is not love, that is self-sacrifice, and you should want more. okay? Because that is way beyond the point of the time limit where you should still be kind of like hanging on and waiting around. Like, you should know by then that it is time to let go. There are so many different lives you could live in a span of 10 years. So take that same dedication and apply it to yourself, because 10 years is literally an entire marriage, okay? You could have had an entire marriage within that 10 years. That is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this message, if it was helpful to you, if you got anything from this message, if you enjoy my energy, my content, etc., I do ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. And I'll see you guys on next time. I love you all. Bye.